What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we know all 6 of the special rare cards that are coming around in OP-06. We got nice clear pictures of all the special cards that are coming around in OP-06, and frankly, if I may be so bold as to say so, you should be a little bit excited about this, because I am. So let's start off with one about which I am particularly excited, because we have got ourselves a new Miss All Sunday. And I say new. When I say new, that really needs to be in like quotation fingers, because we know at this stage these cards aren't new. These special rares aren't new, they've never been new, they are not intended to be new. Nobody should be confusing them for cards that are actually new. And yes, I'm going to stop saying the word new in a minute, because these are, as always, just alternate arts of existing cards. Cards we've had for a while now. Okay, well, that's silly. So, some we've had for a while, some we've just gotten. But they're all cards that we have had before, and now they're coming back, and they're in a fancy new way. And this is awesome. So Miss All Sunday then, what do we actually have? Well, we've got the really nice purple one from OP-04. And yes, it is worth noting that like a bunch of these we're going to look at, there is an alternate art version of it as well. So essentially, now you've got 3 different versions of this same card. I mean, fairly obviously, I'm going to let you figure out which one is your favorite. I really like this new version of it. It is worth noting, you'll see as we go through, that there are a lot of similarities artistically between these, but it's not quite the same as we saw, for instance, with OP-05, where they all had basically the same design. That's not to say they all look identical, I'm not saying they all look identical, but I am saying that when you look at the special rare cards from OP-05, there is a very, very clear style to them. These are a little bit different in that regard, although they all still have a bunch of similarities between them. So Miss All Sunday then, very cool card. I do love this artwork. I've decided it is better than the others. There we go. I've made my decision. And it's a really good card. 5 cost, 5,000 power. On play, you add up to 1 Don from your Don deck rested. And then if you've got 6 or more Don, you draw a card. And it's got a trigger, Don -2, play this card. And then it's a free 5,000 on the board. And yes, you do still get the on play that adds a Don rested. And then if you have 6 or more Don, you get to draw a card. It is a very cool card. We are seeing it see play in purple because it's got that trigger, because it's got a decent amount of power, because it can add Don to the field when you play it. And a lot of purple decks are loving that right now. This makes me very happy indeed. Another card that makes me happy and is going to make a whole bunch of other people happy is Sugar. Sugar is, well, it's a character that debuted again in OP-04, and there was an alternate art, and it's a very cool character, and it's a very good card. This is one that in a lot of blue decks, your Doffy, etc., we do see a whole bunch of play for it. It is a very, very good card, because what it does, when you play, you get to rest a 4 cost or lower, which is fine, but when it's just in play, on your opponent's turn once per turn, as long as your leader is Don Quixote Pirates, of course, they play a character, and then you get to rest one of their characters and this. But you get to rest whoever you want. So essentially, they play a character, and then you rest one of their other characters, which is clearly kind of funny, but also very, very good. You know, there's a reason this sees play. And as a side note, I do need to mention, there's someone over at Bandai in Japan who is making the decision as to which cards get printed as special rares. They are doing a very good job picking good cards to be printed as special rares. These are we're 2 for 2 now. Both of the cards I've shown you so far in this video are cards that see a bunch of play. Probably Sugar a little bit more than Miss All Sunday, but make no mistake about it, they are pretty good cards. Now, we're also getting ourselves a new Borsalino. Now, Borsalino, of course, very, very interesting, because Borsalino's had multiple good cards. Borsalino isn't one of these ones where there's one good card and then the rest aren't quite as good. We had the really good one in OP-02. It's basically on your opponent's turn a 6k blocker that can't be KO'd by effects, which is clearly nuts. But then this is actually a reprint of the one from OP-05, i.e. we haven't seen it in English yet, that is just 7 cost, 8,000 power. On play, place up to one character with a cost of 4 or less at the bottom of the owner's deck. It is a good card that is seen play in some blue decks over in Japan at the moment, because, as previously mentioned, it's a very good card. It's a very blue card. You know, blue does control. Blue gets your opponent's cards off the board. That is what blue does. It is their party trick, so to speak. But that doesn't change the fact that this is a powerful card with a decent control skill that gets rid of one of your opponent's cards. And you add that all up, and you've got yourself a very, very nice card indeed. And just to complete the trio we've seen so far, yes, there is an alternate art version of this one as well. I really like the alternate art version, but I'm actually a big fan of the special cards in this set. And I think we can go 3 for 3 here and say that all 3 of these are actually better than the alternate arts we got in the respective sets. I do think these special rare cards in this set, they've really knocked it out the park. And the whole point was that you're supposed to be, you know, the hook was that they're showing off these characters in their everyday lives. So they're just kind of awesome. Also, shout out to Sugar, just walking along the streets, eating a tasty treat. Something about that card makes me very, very happy. But maybe the most impactful and best card that is being reprinted is Charlotte Linlin, Big Mum herself. And I really didn't like the alternate art in OP-03 the first time we got this, and it's purely just a subjective opinion. I know some people love it. It's not my favourite style of art, and that's okay. This one I do very much like. I think this is awesome. And yeah, Charlotte Linlin is just one of the biggest and most impactful cards we've got in the game right now. 10 cost, 12,000 power. One of very, very few 12,000 power characters in the game. That is a very rare amount of power. And it's a 2-life swing when you play it. When you play it, you gain a life and your opponent loses a life. And then, of course, because yellow plays a whole bunch of trigger, hopefully when you play this, you get to not only gain a life, but you also get yourself a good trigger on top of your life, so you're going to get even more benefit out of it. And yeah, this is kind of awesome, honestly. This is very, very cool. So, big fans of this. Everybody loves Charlotte Linlin. This is a very impactful card, and it's a very cool special rare. I do rather suspect this is going to be one of the ones that people particularly covet, because it is particularly good. Now, we've also got ourselves Buggy, and there's a cool thing going on. Now, this is actually the first special rare we saw, and I do just need to show you again, right? Remember, the whole point of these cards is supposed to be showing them in their everyday life, and apparently Buggy's everyday life is sitting around on a giant pile of treasure. Something about that makes me very happy. But since the ban list came down, something really interesting has been going on with this Buggy. This Buggy has actually been getting a whole bunch better. Because since the ban list came down, in Zoro decks, people have started playing Magura. Now that is just got an on play, one of your red characters with a cost of 1 gains 3,000 power during the turn. But then we've also got Makino that people are playing and have been for a while because it's counter plus 2,000. And activate main rest this character up to one of your red characters with a cost of 1, gains 3,000 power during this turn. And then of course you've got your leader Zoro, which bumps all your characters by 1k. And people are literally playing it and bumping Buggy up from a 3k to a 10k one-cost character. That is how, I'm not saying everybody, but I've seen a bunch of Zoro deck lists, including this past weekend when I was casting up in Liverpool at the regional. A bunch of people have started doing this in their red decks, playing Buggy, especially in Zoro decks. And, I mean, Buggy's seen a bunch of play because it's just a really good, efficient one-cost character. But now we're bumping it up to a 10k, and that makes me kind of happy. As a side note here, it cannot be KO'd by slash-type characters, which just makes it a bunch better. And also, there is no alternate art of this Buggy. So whereas all the other ones I've shown you so far, there is an alternate art, so there are choices to be made about exactly which of the different artworks is your favourite. That is not something we need to think about here, because, well, there's no choice to be made. It's just there. And also, while we're here, how does Buggy not have a leader card yet? And again, if you've watched the anime, read the manga, Buggy absolutely makes sense as a character that should have a leader. But also, how has Buggy not had a leader yet? Boo! There we go. And the last one we've got here is Rebecca. Now, Rebecca is a very popular character. Of course, we saw in Liverpool this past weekend, we actually had our undefeated player in Swiss was actually a Rebecca player, which was awesome. And they did make it all the way. They had a couple more wins in there. Did unfortunately end up falling in top 4, but they did go undefeated all the way from round 1 through to top 4, which was just very impressive, frankly. Very good player, very good run. Leo from Korea knocked it out the park. This is not that Rebecca, incidentally. This is the Rebecca character from OP-05, but it seems a little bit remiss to be talking about this and not at least mention that run that we watched this past weekend. It was very, very cool. And of course, this is the Rebecca that does have an alternate art as well. So all of the ones but Buggy, you've now got 3 choices. I will leave it up to you as to which one you particularly like. What we've got here is a 4-cost, 0-power blocker. And on play, it lets you grab a black character between costs of 3 and 7, other than Rebecca, to pop into your hand. And then play a black character with a cost of 3 or less from your hand, rested. So it's a blocker that recovers and plays a card for free. I mean, yeah. And sure, you're a 1,000-power blocker. You're going to block and go away. You're not going to get multiple blocks with this. That's absolutely fine. It does enough to start you off. So there you go. Those are all of the special rare cards. And they're all things of absolute beauty. For me, there's so many. I think Rebecca might be my favourite of them because I love all the little dudes. They're awesome. Leo and his pals. They're cool. But I've got a real soft spot for the Sugar one here as well, and the Missile Sunday is nice, and yeah. Let's hope we pull some of these from OP-06, shall we? For now, I want to know what you think about all of these, so let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk about One Piece and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord, and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wasi Plays.